Yeah, so I see Tomer as co-host, so he
Yeah,
should be able
okay.
to share.
Okay. I thought I had bumped over the wrong person. And so I was like, oh, wait, let's make this. So let's go ahead and go into our spotlight presentation. We want to thank you very, very much. So today we have SkyWatch, an insurance company, and Tomer is going to tell us all about it. So very, very glad to have you here. Thank you so much. Go ahead and let me know.
Okay. Desi, thank you very much for the warm introduction. It's really, really great to be here. So it's a great honor to speak with this community of pilots. We're great supporters of Women's Drone and Drones mission. So we recently became an enterprise member of Women and Drones, and actually I talked with Yuval, and when Yuval asked me to, if I wish to talk with a group, and she told me about, the intimate setting and the open conversation, I immediately said yes without any hesitation, and it's really, really great to be here. So today, and do you see my screen? Do you see myself? Everything technically works?
Tomer, on my side, your screen is way too big, and I'm not seeing the whole slide. Maybe it might be my end. I don't know. Does everybody else see it framed okay?
I see it.
That's good on my side.
Picking up the whole screen. It looks big and nice.
Okay.
Probably his monitor size.
Oh, so that's what I did. I went to full screen, and there we go. I got it. It's still a bit clipped, but I'm okay. Thank you.
Okay. So I will speak clearly, so the slides won't be needed, hopefully. So today I want to cover, a little bit about our company and about our journey at SkyWatch. More than anything, I wish it to be useful for you. So maybe you can learn from our journey as a company, as a business in the drone industry. We will obviously talk about, drone insurance in general. Do you need it? How to use it? Why SkyWatch is the best? That's, for sure. But I really want you to learn a little bit about our business, about the business from my eyes, and really to have it as an open conversation. And just feel free to jump in with questions, and it could be also like an open discussion. So a little bit about myself. I'm Tomer, and I'm SkyWatch's co-founder and CEO. I'm a physicist and computer scientist in background that somehow combined my interests and found myself incorporating them into the UAS world, and specifically drone insurance. A little bit about the history of the company. Historically, both me and my co-founder Ori have backgrounds in the Israeli Air Force, and when we first started our company back in 2016, the drone industry was relatively in its infancy, and frankly, we started as a drone risk analytics company. We thought that safety is the #1 problem in drones, and we created an algorithm to provide safety insights on drone flights. We took the telemetry data from the drone, and as well as the contextual external data, and we found insights like you're flying too high, too low, over people in no-fly zones, in crowded places, etc. And we were able to provide like a safety score for each and every individual flight. Quite quickly, we found out that the best way or only way to really monetize and utilize this data is to build an entire insurance company around it. So not only to score the flights or to score the pilots, but also to provide an insurance offering around it, as insurance was a pretty hard thing to obtain back in 2016. So fast forward to today, SkyWatch is basically the leader in digital drone insurance. We're operating in 4 countries, most notably in the US and Canada, serving thousands of businesses across many industries, from small businesses to relatively large enterprises. Basically everyone from photographers to cinematographers, engineers doing surveying, spraying, in agriculture, cell tower inspection, drone light shows. We even have some customers that are experimenting with deliveries and flying taxis. We provide our insurance either directly on our website, SkyWatch.ai, or we recently also started work with selected affiliated brokers. So you can go to the insurance broker that you work with, and eventually some of them will suggest you to try the SkyWatch insurance product out. And maybe like the last thing to note with the general note is that we're not the insurance carrier by ourselves. We have basically partnered with a company called Star, which is a 100-year-old company and the largest aviation insurance carrier in North America. That we price the risk and distribute the product and issue the policies, but they pay the claims on behalf of SkyWatch. So this is how the company looks like today. Very different from the beginning. We started, as I said, as 2 data science geeks, and now we have a team of around 15 people across the US and Israel. And we have product support, customer service, marketing, insurance actuaries, and many more, people from very, very diverse expertise. Basically, each and every one of the people in the company is much better than myself in the thing that they do. And this is how it should work, I believe. And maybe like another thing that I'm a great believer in is, the work hard, play hard saying. So we work very hard, but we also really know how to make fun, to do a lot of fun. And we do it in many ways. We do surfing lessons to cocktail parties over Zoom now in COVID. So if you have, good ideas for more and more happy hours, but because I think that we covered all of the cool things already. So please feel free to shoot me a note with a cool thing that our company could do. We're also lucky to have 5 great women on our team in pretty diverse roles, including very senior roles. The head of biz dev, head of product. In the community management, Yuval, design, HR. So just for example, Yuval, some of you may know Yuval already. So Yuval started with us as a student like two years ago, and now 2 years later, she is spearheading our entire community management and customer support, and she does it in a really, really amazing way. She's much more than her job description, and it's really, really great to see that. So maybe like, we talked about the company and how the company evolved as, from 2 data science geeks to a real, company. And maybe like one more thing that I would like to share is a little bit about the product and the journey of what we did in our product. And I think that the key takeaway here is that in startups, but also in businesses in general, the initial idea doesn't really matter. What matters is the execution. So listening to your pilots, customers, learning from the feedback, giving amazing service along the way, improving as fast as possible. So as the faster you can change your idea, the better it is for you, for your customers, and for your business. So after we started the company in 2016, we launched our product. It took us a lot of time to launch our product. Everything takes a lot of time in insurance. So we launched our product in early 2018, and we offered only like a very, very specific product. It was like a mobile app for on-demand hourly insurance coverage. So it's like something that you could buy by the hour, mainly for, it was great. It had like great traction, but mainly for customers that got into the market and didn't know how much volume they are going to have from customers. So they wanted to have this flexibility of buying insurance on demand. In some cases also to provide this cost as something to baked in their invoice to their customers that demanded this insurance. Over time, as the industry evolved and grew, we also grew with more and more products. So we launched our monthly insurance product, then our annual insurance product. So we were able to cater to more and more types of businesses. With that, over time, recently, like earlier this year, we've launched in Canada. We have redesigned our whole platform so it looks, from this to that, much better. And now, in mid 2020, the year is not over, but it's, nothing short than crazy for us. Even with COVID, we have, pilots that have increased their demand, then decreased it, then increased it again in some cases. So we need to be very, very flexible with the pilot's needs. We've participated in a very unique program by Google for startups that help us with adopting new processes for really operating at scale. It's like one thing to work with a few hundreds of pilots, and it's another thing to work with more than 10,000 pilots. So, and the processes look different. It's very, very important across many countries. So it's also very important. We also, from an insurance perspective, we expanded the product to include additional offerings such as indoor coverage, worldwide coverage, coverage for really relatively more expensive equipment such as expensive lidars and other sorts of complex equipment. And lastly, as I mentioned before, we also launched a broker affiliation program. So people are not only able to go to the SkyWatch website and buy directly insurance, but also have like the hybrid approach of talking with the brokers that they already know and already work with in the other lines of insurance, and still get the SkyWatch product. So in essence, I think that just like the drone industry, we're always changing and always trying to improve. And as a company, I believe it's still the beginning of us. So what you saw here is maybe like chapter number 1 and 2 of the entire story, and we're all together looking forward to see what the next few years are going to bring. And now that we have that covered, it might be interesting to see what we actually offer, what's drone insurance, and I would like Yuval, our head of community management, to speak a little bit about that. Before we jump into the details of SkyWatch, I would be curious to see if you have questions, comments, lessons from your perspective.
Yes, actually, let me bring this up. Oops, attendee Zoom. Where's my Zoom?
And out of curiosity, maybe we could, have like a quick poll. Do you have drone insurance? Do you, and if so, do you have it like on an hourly basis, like an on-demand insurance, on an annual basis? Actually, it's quite interesting from my perspective, because I see here, a bunch of, very, very professional drone service providers in this group.
Well, I think Jim is trying to bring up a question, right? Okay, I muted you temporarily, so you'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I don't see I moved my screen off. The only question I had was relative to third party or clients being named. A lot of times you can have insurance that covers your liability, your damages, and the things that you can do. But often, sometimes we come across clients that want to be named in the insurance. Let's say you're doing a live event. They'll want to be named in that insurance in case your drone incident affects the live event. Does your insurance have that third-party naming capability?
Yeah, so actually it's a very, very good point. So what you refer to is what's called an additional insured.
Yeah, additional, right.
One of your clients is asking to have a certificate of insurance saying that they are an additional insured on the policy.
Correct.
It's a very, very common thing that a lot of customers are asking for. We do it free of charge in for all of our policies.
Nice.
So, and in general, Yuval is going to get to that, but drone insurance is divided into two parts. One is the third-party liability insurance. So what happens if, God forbid, the drone hurts someone or destroys us, like a third-party property? This is what is usually required by the clients, by your clients. And then you have like liability limits of everything from 1 million, 2 million, 5, 10 we saw as well. So this is one thing. The other thing that is optional and some pilots are opting to do is to have insurance for their for their assets. So it's like physical damage coverage. It's for the drone itself, for the equipment. If there are if there is like more sensitive equipment like LiDAR, etc. And this is basically covers the equipment and drones, not only when the drone is in flight, but also when it is stored in transit, etc. Cool. So Yuval, do you wanna go ahead and speak a little bit about what do we offer? What's SkyWatch?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, I can kind of dive in a little bit more into detail, kind of what like the questions that Jim raised. Tomer, if you don't mind, just keep presenting and kind of move along with me. That'd be perfect. So yes, let's talk about drone insurance. Tomer, you can go to the next slide. Okay, so one of the questions that we receive a lot is, why do I need drone insurance? And while it's not necessarily required by the FAA, in order to get a contract, a commercial contract, we've seen so many that it is required. And as Tomer said, safety is our top priority, and we also want safety to be the number one priority of the drone industry. And we believe that getting the right drone insurance is not only going to protect you as a pilot and your business and your drone and equipment and but it really does promote awareness and responsibility and professionalism for the industry that, as pilots, they fly insured and that they are taking on that liability, if heaven forbid something does happen. Moving along, Tomer. So another thing that's important, our insurance, when we talk about third-party liability, we're referring to aviation liability. So that's anything that comes out of your drone use and not necessarily your business use or your general liability, and they are generally separated. And some drone insurances aren't going to cover commercial use. So that's also very important to remember. And then the third point is that warranty and insurance are two separate things. So warranty might, cover your drone loss, which is what Tomer was talking about, like the two different portions about drone insurance, hull coverage and liability. But essentially warranty is something completely different, and it's not something that, that's not really what we offer. Next slide, Tomer. Okay, so I saw somebody wrote in the questions, actually, they wrote, can you explain at one point you should transition from on-demand to an annual policy? And I think one of the important things when this question comes to mind is to kind of understand the scope of your work. So first of all, it comes down to your business requirements. So how many days are you going out to operate? Is this something that's happening once a month, once a week, or every day of the month? What industry you're working in, if this is dependent on the weather, if there are certain months where you're not in business and you don't want the insurance at that time, that's kind of, how you're gonna wanna decide. You also have to take into consideration the client's demand, because we see pilots who had no intention of ever getting insurance and then are suddenly given a contract with, A, B, C, D, E, F, G requirements. And so, you want to make sure that you also are matching your insurance to whatever you're required. And the third thing that comes into getting the right drone insurance is to be in accordance with the local requirements and authorities. We have a lot of pilots, for example, Jim, with your question, adding additional insurance. A lot of times, like, for example, pilots in Minnesota have to put the Minnesota DOT as an additional insured. And that's something that we do. No added charge, you just pay your premium and that's included, and we'll submit the documents for you on your behalf. Same thing with BLM or college universities. I mean, all across the board, we've seen different types of additional insureds based on different local regulations. But at the end of the day, we can talk about insurance all day long, but what we really want, what to be associated with SkyWatch is peace of mind, because, you guys are all going out on all these different operations and there's so much to consider and so much to do. And when it comes to insurance, it's like always such a headache for people, it's paperwork and documents. And we want to like give the idea and the vision that when you have your policy in place, you can really operate with peace of mind. And part of the things that go into that are these key features. So
Yes.
Tomer already kind of touched up about this, so I won't go too much in detail, but basically the insurance it's a comprehensive policy. You can choose to get both third-party liability and hull coverage, or you can just choose to do third-party liability. We don't offer hull coverage on its own, so you can't just physically insure the drone. You have to get it with liability. You can really modify the liability limits as you need, and you also declare the value of your drone. So whether you purchased it a year ago or today, you can really declare that value and make sure that you're insured up until that value. Next slide, Tomer. And okay, this goes back to your client's demand and the additional insured. Anytime you activate a policy with us, immediately you're going to be given a certificate of insurance with all the policy endorsements dependent on your location and your state. And it's going to have all your policy details. And this is where the additional insured that you have, your client's request is going to be listed. So this is the document that's always modified. So you're going to have the same exact policy, but each time the document is going to change based on whatever additional insured you need, and you have it right at your fingertips. So it's just a matter of, either using the app or the web portal, whatever is more convenient for you, and producing that new document. And another thing, going back to the peace of mind, we love the idea of that, you can have it on the go with you and you can make changes as you need on the app or the web portal. But it's super important for us to reiterate the fact that we're human beings behind it and that we're always going to help you if you need. And, we're happy to take requests. We do a lot of, community work. We want to know what our pilots are working on. We want to know the operations that you're doing. And we want to help you get, all the documents you need as quickly as possible so that you're on the go. So if you don't have time to do it on your own, you shoot us an email, you give us a call, and we're happy to help as needed to meet your client's demands.
It's important to know that if you reach out to us, most probably the one that is going to answer is Yuval. It's not because we don't have any other people in the company. It's just that Yuval is so responsive, so that she just answers faster than anyone else, and it's very. So it's not that we're small. It's just that Yuval is so good.
So, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you know, I'm not a drone pilot myself, but I do get a lot of questions, oh, how long have you been flying, or how long have you, and I always say, I don't fly, but I feel like since I converse with so many of you guys, that's where I get my insight on what's going on and, what kind of operations and what kind of jobs are. So that's really how I feel that I am a pilot, even though I'm just behind the scenes work. That's why I'm, eager to respond always. Okay, and then last but not least, we get to the safety score, which Tomer mentioned at the beginning, that we have like a special risk analysis algorithm that gives you insights on your flying metrics and your, the things that you're doing in flight. So whether you have insurance with us or not, you can always submit your logs and get this analysis. It's always, good to know what you're doing that's considered safe, maybe things that should be changed moving forward. And it's like always, updated. You can always send us new flight logs and get more details. But perhaps the best part about this is that you also get to redeem it as a discount. So based on what score you get, you're going to fall into a category gold, platinum, and diamond. And that's going to be directly applied to your premiums. And of course, this is something that is going to continue with you over time, as long as you have insurance active with us. And if you start off with the gold, you can always submit more logs to get the platinum. And if you, get the platinum, you can always submit more to get the diamond. It's really kind of, unique to us. And we know how much time and effort goes into getting your safety training and, making sure that you're flying responsibly. And we really do believe that we should reward pilots for that. So that's kind of where the safety score comes into play. And it's also a super easy process to do. Tomer, if you go to the next slide. you'll see on our website, we have a portal. You can just simply upload your logs directly there. I know on the screen it says DJI and air data only, but we accept all types of flight logs, whichever app you're flying with. You can always either reach out to us and we'll let you know, we'll do it manually for you, or we're actually working on updating this right now. So that way it also shows all the other servers and apps that we're working with as well. And this is something that is always changing. So we're always finding new ways to adapt the system, whenever new technology comes out, we need our algorithm to stay up to date. And every time we're adding new drones that we're able to analyze their flight logs. So that's just a little bit about the discount. And again, you don't have to use it just to get the discount. You can also do it just to get a flight analysis. So that's really, really quick, an overview about our insurance and what we do. I'm of course always happy to, spend more time really like breaking down the coverage. As Tomer mentioned, I also just recently became a broker. So insurance is an interesting topic to me. If you have any questions or you want to like look over, the fine details, I'm always happy to review. Yeah. And that's all on my end.